Yeah.
Good evening. We are live. This is Bigfoot Explorer. This is Scott and
Christy Sci-Fi.
And joining us on the phone is, who's that on the phone?
Patrick.
We got Patrick Vaugn from North Louisiana, and our guest host here tonight is Mr. Daniel Benoit of the ECBRO. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
Yay, for both.
Doing great. Good. Thank you for
Good.
having me on here.
Yeah, thanks for doing it kind of at the last minute. I know a bunch of people are probably in the chat saying, where's Patrick Vaugn live part 5? Don't worry, it's coming. I just wanted to stir the pot a little bit and do this live stream. And you know, Dan, you're one of the first ones I thought of with this topic. And the topic for tonight's live stream is overcoming public interference when dealing with Sasquatch research. And then we can always branch off. I'm sure it's going to branch off because I don't know if we'll have enough criteria to talk about that one thing. I mean, it might be just as easy as, well, we just go the other way. But
Yeah.
But I'd also like to pick your brain on research in general, because her and I and Patrick are finding ourselves really at the beginning of researching. I like to call it investigating or scouting more than researching.
Right.
Just because we're so green. Now, I've been into Bigfoot with Kerry, with Bigfoot Odyssey for about a year now, but just now started to get pretty serious into wanting to go get the boots on the ground type thing. Let's say hello to a few people. Let's see who's in here first.
Lady in the woods.
Who do we have in here? Oh, look, there's Pappy Two Bears. It's old Gordo.
I love Gordo.
There's Patrick. There's Barry Browning. Hello.
Hello, Barry. Max Powers.
Max is in there. Mickey Free.
Somebody new. Joe Montana.
We got Nikki. And there's our favorite lady in the woods.
Oddities.
We have Doug's in there.
Squatching Strategies.
And
Hey.
Mr. Campbell.
Yep.
Wait, where's he at?
Right there. He's right here.
I gotta say.
Oh, there it is.
And then Martha. And then
I gotta say hello to.
Rob.
Wait, where's Martha?
Martha's right here.
Okay.
I love my Bigfoot Rob.
So Dan, every time we do live Wednesdays, we call it Wine Wednesday.
Okay.
This is for all the. I kind of started this just on a whim, and it stuck. A lot of people were emailing me, telling me.
Bigfoot Rob started it.
Yeah, Bigfoot Rob started. Where's Wine Wednesday? Because I didn't do it again, and then they're wanting to know the wines and stuff. So I said, you know what, just do it. So tonight, that's right, from the great state of Louisiana, the Coon-Ass Nation down here. That's right. We have Landry's Vineyards. It's a blueberry Merlot. Okay, that's what I'm going to be drinking.
Oh, cool. No.
That sounds pretty good.
I'm drinking my tea.
She's drinking tea.
I'm drinking sweet tea that my sister made. Thank you, sis.
I got apple juice.
Hey, that'll work. Patrick, do you have your whiskey or what?
I have my Captain Morgan rum.
All right. Patrick's got his Captain Morgan. I got blueberries. Christy's got tea, and Daniel's he's sipping on his apple juice.
I didn't say what was in it. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I do want to give a shout out. I see my co-host is on here, or one of my co-hosts, Miss Nikki Cologne from all the way from Texas.
Here,
she's on here. She goes by Nikki Cologne.
Yeah, I got her up. Yeah. I saw her. Y'all do the show all the time. I remember when I did the live stream with Bigfoot Odyssey.
Look, there's Doodle Squad.
Oh yeah.
Nikki, thanks for coming on. And yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm hoping my other guy Baltimore. I don't know if you know Baltimore. Baltimore, he's supposed to be watching, so you might see his name pop up on here.
Oh,
So.
okay. If I see it, I'll put him on. He's the one with the podcast, right?
Ruger Ridge.
No, Baltimore is my co-host. I'm the host of our podcast that we do. So
There
yeah.
was another guy that night that you do a podcast with. I forget.
We did that the other night. We were actually a guest with that was Gary Spikes Jr.
Oh yeah, Gary.
Hey Doug.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get drunk on the Walmart water.
Wait, who said that?
Doug.
Oh, Doug.
He says I have a bottle of Walmart water. Don't get drunk.
Yeah.
Hey Belle.
All right. And look, Patrick, of course we can't see you, but just step in over us when you have something, and I'll try my best to after we're ask a question or what have you just chime in, but don't be shy. Just say.
Well, I say we let the guest star, answer first, and maybe I'll have something.
Right? Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know. So let's go ahead and get started. Dan, how long have you been actively researching, Daniel?
Honestly, it's been 10 years. It's only been 10 years. I know that's not as long as many, but I mean, I would love to say more, considering I've been in the woods since I was a young kid. Hunting, playing in the woods. Since I was a kid, and but as far as I've always been, fascinated with nature and wildlife in general. But the Bigfoot thing started 10 years ago. But then I combined my Bigfoot research, with wildlife, because it's very important to research and know your wildlife on top of Bigfoot. So
yes, most definitely so. Now you're born and raised in Virginia, there.
I was actually born in Massachusetts. Age 11, came down here to the state of Virginia. Of course, my father's job, and so yeah, since age 11 up till now, I'm 39. I've been down here in Virginia since then. So, but I love it. I live in the mountains, and here in the Shenandoah Valley, you cannot ask for a better place to live in Virginia.
Yeah.
Everything is here. So
I tell you one thing that I would have to get used to, and that's definitely the relief. We're generally flatlanders here, and then when we go up to South Mississippi to do our research, that's maybe gently rolling slopes. You guys have some serious relief.
Yeah, the Blue Ridge Mountains alone. I mean, the Blue Ridge Mountains that run all the way through down to South Carolina, North Carolina, South Carolina, and it's breathtaking. And especially as you head further into the west, I travel into West Virginia a lot, and even up through Pennsylvania, it's beautiful. I mean, the scenery, the way the ridges and the mountains collide and overlap, and and the valleys, yeah. It's I mean, when you ride, like with what I do for a living, I drive. I mean, I'm a local truck driver, and I drive throughout the state of Virginia, and the scenery I get to see every day, almost every day, it's breathtaking. And I'm riding along in some of these areas, either if it's on the main highway or a back road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a squatchy state, and you can't help but notice and almost sense that there's something there, So. But
No.
when you generally go, or maybe even when you got started, did you just start out with just you, was by yourself, or you always had a teammate or partner, or that came later? Or
yeah, as starting off, I was very much solo. I wanted to get the feel of everything. I wanted to understand things on my own. And as I started looking into things, I ended up getting on social media, because it's funny because I didn't realize that there were so many people that were actually involved with this Bigfoot research and all these theories. Because when I first got on the Facebook, I started exploring Facebook and discovered that there's actually forums, which are groups, which
Right.
I have a couple of my own, and you know, but I was kind of sat back and observed and listened and read a lot of what people were saying, and there was all these different theories that came about, and a lot of them made a lot of sense back then, but then which I took note of a lot of things, and I started to do my research both in and out of the field, so um now of course up to present time, from the time I started up to now, the theories actually kind of went out of this world a little bit, and when I say out of this world, they're like, to most of us, they would be considered far-fetched theories,
Right.
or possibilities.
Not now, but back then.
Yeah, right. Which a lot of these possibilities and these claims and theories now are starting to become more accepted, which I ain't gonna lie, it irritates the crap out of me because there's nothing that supports it. Half of what's being put out there. But and I'm not gonna bash anybody. I'm not gonna put nobody down. But
right.
I'm somebody that wants, on my own level. People could choose to go in there or any direction they want, but I believe in staying in one direction and one course, and keep my boots on the ground and stay logical to the best of my ability. Me being as a Bigfoot researcher, I'm also a wildlife researcher. And keep in mind, for the record, for those who are listening, I do not hold a degree in any background whatsoever. However, I am a very passionate researcher, and I take my research very seriously. With the research I conduct, both scientifically out of the field as well as exploring in the field. I do a lot of research and comparison notes with my choice of study of non-human primates. So, and what should I guess that would be a touch of primatology, zoology, so, depending on how you want to look at it, yes, I'm a cryptozoologist, but some of those,
and that's great. Now, leading into that though, what I'm going to say mine first. We're in the camp that we believe that the creature is physical.
right.
I believe that I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a relic hominid or a human or a great ape. I don't think many of us can say.
Right.
But I am generally in the camp of practicality and reality. Where do you stand?
Well said right there. I mean, I'm right there with you.
Same camp.
Right. And the thing is, yeah, you're right. We don't know what it is, but I have my belief, and and my belief is not a fact. And that's one thing I try to clarify to everybody. My belief is not a fact, and don't take it as a fact. But what supports my belief is just the observations of the behaviors that we witness here in North America compared to other species that are very known for these, actions and the things that they do. Like I said, I do a lot of comparison with what we experience in our here in America,
Right.
with non-human primates like chimpanzees, gorillas, etc., etc. Because they all share a similar diet. So if we believe they eat meat, yeah, our non-human primates eat meat. Do they chase deer? Yes, because our non-human primates chase deer. Do they tree knock? Yes, because except I could go on and on and on. There's a lot of things I gotta do a zip line of comparison, And, so with that being said, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. We have not had a Bigfoot experience, both her and I. Patrick Vaugn, which Dan, if you haven't seen any of the Patrick Vaugn Chronicle series, they're 4 parts. I'll instant message you the first one, and if that hooks you, you can watch the rest. But he is a very unique individual. He has had multiple encounters and experiences up in North Louisiana. Patrick's a dedicated professional tracker and a child of God. One of the most honest, laid-back men that you're ever going to meet. So I'm very glad that our paths just kind of crossed. He saw a post on a Facebook page or something, and just contacted me, and we just started talking, and I was like blown away, and that kind of started the Chronicles. But we're getting off point. So her and I have not witnessed or had an encounter. Patrick has.
But we've had the wood knocks, and
Yeah,
we've had the feelings.
We've experienced the wood knocks in an area. Mm-hmm. We really have just one research spot now in South Mississippi, and we're gearing up to try to get a second one now. Have you had an encounter or an experience yet?
Actually, yeah, I actually had a couple. One was the actual a late nighttime visual. I wasn't alone. There was actually 6 of us together total. Okay. It was during it was back during the 2014 ECBRO camping expedition. Of course, it was totally unexpected. Now, before I get into anything, I mean, our visual, what we saw 3 of them in one shot. It didn't start off at 3. It started off as 1, which we actually, the first one being the shortest, we believed to be a juvenile. And the other one was about 6 foot, and there was an 8 foot tall one. But keep in mind now, this took place after midnight, and we were about a mile from our camp, coming from a lake, headed up the forest road, and seeing a couple deer on the side of the road, and then not long after seeing the deer is when everything took place and happened. I'm not trying to leave out details. It's just I shared this story so many times.
That's fine. That's fine. That's enough.
But I can give you like I said, the height and the movement, and and the eye shine was large yellowish looking eyes, and out of the 3, we seen the eye shine of all 3, but out of the 3, the 8 foot tall one was the only one we seen the shape and silhouette. And had a big round head, very broad shoulders, and that one was pretty interesting because we seen them blink in their eyes. We seen it step to the side, and take a step or two and look back at us. The most active one was actually the one we believe to be the juvenile, because it was doing this kind of swaying side to side motion, kind of like a chimpanzee or ape would do, and the funny thing is, while we're observing this, the whole time we're observing this, we're actually getting excited. We're acting like a bunch of nerds. I'm not gonna lie, because we all had headlamps on. We're all looking at this, and a couple of us are saying, "Hey, not once did we even mention about Sasquatch toward the end of our observation." And I think it was my buddy Tracy Arnold. He says, "Guys, I think we got squatches here." And I'm like kind of like, that was already in the back of my mind, but I didn't want to say nothing. I mean, that's what we're there for. But at the same time, I didn't want to say nothing because I was feeling, what else could these be? I know these woods.
Right.
They were resembling nothing known, and and make you a long story short, after they disappeared further into the darkness, we had made our way back towards camp, and we were still trying to rehearse in our heads, what we saw, and try to like debunk our own sighting. I was like, what the heck did we just see? I said, those weren't bears. I know bears all too well. I've been with, have had encounters with bears both close and distance, both day and night, and those were not bears. And so we were just trying to talk about a few things, and then come to find out, me and Tracy Arnold, we're the only ones out of the group that actually had backpacks on during that hike.
Yeah.
And one thing we both had in our backpacks that we realized we had after we got back to camp were night vision. Not once did we think about pulling them out.
Yeah, well, you can't. It's got to be like glued on your face. The minute it happens, your brain's got the process. You're looking around like, is this happening? I mean, you can't do 1,000 things at once. And it's so easy now to go ahead and say, well, we had the things in the back and blah, blah, blah. But no, I also follow Tracy Arnold's channel too. I like him.
Sasquatch with Squatching with Sasquatch Outlaw. Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, Tracy Arnold is actually the original co-founder to the ECBRO.
Oh, okay.
And he's about 3 hours south of me here in Virginia. And he actually is the founder of his group that runs, Tracy's been busy lately, but he gets out there quite a bit. And I
think he runs the Big River Valley.
The New River Valley Bigfoot. The New River Valley is actually a very large area down in that part of Virginia, and I travel through it all the time with my work, so it's beautiful down there. There's nothing but woods and mountains all through there, and the rivers and the creeks and streams. He's got everything down there that I got up here, so it's awesome.
It's perfect. Hey, Patrick, did you catch that he said something about the eyes?
Yeah.
Huh? Patrick, are you there?
I'm here.
Did you catch what he said about the eyes?
Yeah, you said it was a amber color, yellow color.
Yellow color, right? And what's the color that you saw?
I saw it was the color of the setting sun, just the amber yellow color.
Of
the setting sun is what I saw.
So it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
My question is when you had your headlamp on and you were looking at this one swaying back and forth, was your headlamp directly in his eyes, or just do you think the light was bothering his eyes?
Well, the thing is, we were all. I mean, this is what got me. Every 6 of us, every last single one of us had headlamps on, and I think maybe 1 or 2 of us or a couple of us were brighter than the others. A couple of us had cheaper, not so brighter ones. But that's a very good possibility. The thing is, the whole time, we were observing all 3. Now, keep in mind, the small one, and the 6-foot tall one. Those were the first 2 to see. One of the details that I left out that I was cutting short was the 8-foot tall one didn't appear till like almost 2 or 3 minutes after we were observing the 2, because the other one, the 8-foot tall one, was actually crouched down and slowly. That's what we noticed. It was slowly standing up and towered over top of the 6-foot one. Well, but they were all looking at us, but the light may have had some effect to them because they were blinking their eyes. That's what we were noticing that much. But the small one is like I don't know. I just seemed like he was just kind of antsy, The other 2 didn't seem to be bothered. They were standing still, besides that one took that step and looked back at us. But that could have been a possibility, not that, but I just know that experience was very exciting. The other thing was too, real quick, that whole situation was filmed by our buddy that was with us. We didn't know he was filming till later on that he shared that video footage with us. And the disappointment of it is, none of the eye shine and nothing was picked up. Some people say they could see it. I don't see it in the video. It was just taken with a cheap, handheld camcorder, but you could definitely see our behavior and our activity. I mean, you can see all that. So.
Yeah, well, what most people may not know is, if you just bring a standard camcorder out there and you have headlights, you got to be right on that headlight to see anything. Right. The minute you move that camera away, the sensors are like wafer thin, small, the size of a frosted flake or smaller. So, it's getting to be a thermal and night vision world. I wish thermals would come down in price because
Well, I just bought a brand new. Yeah, I got one. I'm anxious to really get out there and try it. I mean, I got several night vision devices. They're good. I got some good ones, but
But
I got
that's
the.
your
I
first
just
thermal, huh? I saw that.
yeah.
You
Yep.
bought the TK Scout. I saw.
Yeah, and I mean, I played around with it, over in my parents' yard a little bit, looking at the horses next door. I mean, and it works great,
It does?
So I think it does. It works real good for $500. I don't think you can go wrong with it.
Yeah.
But I have yet to really put it to the test when I get out there and spend more time out there at night.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what you get.
So,
Hey, it doesn't matter if you get just regular wildlife. I'd love for you to film a bear moving at night, just so we could see what a bear looking like at night thermal looks like. That's what a lot of people need to see is examples
absolutely.
of other wildlife too.
Now,
Patrick, you have anything else before we move on yet?
No. I'm just listening to your show. Y'all doing great.
What did you want to say, Daniel?
Go ahead. I lost my train of thought. No, it's okay. It wasn't too important.
So, the topic of the show is, and this is what what made me want to do the topic and pick you. And don't get all nuts or anything, but I know that you've had problems with other researchers, or not problems, issues, or maybe headbutts with different types of areas. And really and truly, the areas that you research are in like a national forest or a state park or a conservation area, right? And that's ours too. And that's ours too. And you always think that you're the only one. Now, I turkey hunt, and I know the area, and I know there's tons of hunters there, right? So it's kind of easy to balance out when not to go, because hunters are there and this, that, and the other, and pick and choose when you're going to do the research. But what do you do, or what happens when someone else, another researching group, comes into your area? How do you handle something like that as an adult, or the best way to do it? Because really and truly, on one hand, it's free and open to anybody.
Right, exactly.
We don't own that space. But then on the other hand, there should be a little bit of, and I guess I'm thinking of people way too highly, but there should be some sort of compassion, some respect with who's been putting the amount of time that they're putting in there. And really, truly, there's no license for that area that we get that says it's ours. Right. And I'm wondering how to deal with that if I ever come across that.
Well, first of all, when I go into the woods, I don't make an announcement. Like, hey, I'm gonna hear Bigfoot and stay out of this area. You know what I mean? I don't make definitely don't make it public for a number of reasons. I mean, it's bad enough that we get ridiculed and made fun of for what we do. But
But
the other thing is too, if you're going out, people know where you're at, or you're announcing. Even online, I let people know, hey, I'm headed to the woods. I love telling people I'm headed out of the woods, because they might have something to give them something to possibly look forward to if I find anything good.
Right.
But on the other thing is, I've only taken very few people there, and they're associated with me, and they're other fellow Bigfooters that I know and trust.
Yeah.
The thing is, everybody else, anyone like in the past, I've had extra from from camping trips and stuff. Yeah, they live out of state, or just too far away. And but the thing is, as far as locals go, the only way I'm going to come across somebody else that's researching the area for Bigfoot, I mean, they would have to be advertising themselves while they're out there.
So you've never had an issue in 10 years of going to some of your select spots and somebody else is there in them?
Not as a Bigfoot researcher. I mean, I've come across people hiking or bike ride, riding their bikes
and
stuff.
that's different. That's different.
Right.
Well, that's
yeah. I never had doing Bigfooting in the area. Now, if other people do that, apparently we're definitely avoiding each other if they're in that same area.
And doing it very well because you're not hearing or seeing or tracking anybody else as far as
Now I have a habit of if I come across people while I'm out on a hike on a trail or something, I like to talk to people. I will kind of introduce myself. Because especially you got a young couple, or even if it's just two females all hiking, which in my area I don't think it's safe, but as long as if you're packing, you're good to go. But I always want to make, especially if a family they got young kids, I want to make them feel comfortable. I don't want they're out there by themselves, and here comes this strange hairy beard looking guy, and
Wolfman Jack from the dead.
Like,
does anyone know who Wolfman Jack is?
No,
I've heard of him.
On the mountain with the bear. What's his name?
Grizzly Adams. Yeah, it's Grizzly Adams.
I don't have my hat.
Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, my beard's growing out. It's getting there.
Just like
you need to split them apart.
Well, actually, the braid, I can let the mustache grow, and so.
No, but that's actually that's something I hope to chat with you here and again, just to complement. The section of wood. Do you know the acreage of the national forest that you're at, roughly?
It's over 130,000 acres of the Georgia Washington National Forest. Yeah,
that's exactly what ours is. 130,000 acres. So, be interesting to know, as we're doing this, to chime in back and forth and see how many times people encroach or issues happen squatch wise, researchers, not hunters, bikers, or hikers, but somehow I think here in the South we're gonna end up running into something like that. I don't know why, but it's on my mind, and I know the best thing to do is to just leave the area. It's not worth a confrontation and all that good stuff, but
yeah.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there,
Booger.
Yeah, Patrick.
If I run into another researcher, I keep my mouth shut and I try to pick his brain. What do you know? Where do you know it? What have you seen? And I'll pick his brain and see, where he's been, and it'll help me avoid his area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let him. Well, it's not that you're being mean, but you're playing dumb to find out what else they know.
Yeah. I'll try to pattern him.
Yeah.
Because there is another person around that does that in my area, and I'll pattern him and avoid his areas.
So does he ever come on the areas that you actively go, or he just kind of stays in his spot?
Well, luckily he doesn't quite have the skill set I have.
Yeah.
As far as tracking and all that. So that person, he's limited to
how long he actually out his duration with it. Well, that makes sense. So here's another question for you, Dan. What's the percentage of actually when you do your looking for sites that you want to go look in? Do you generally do what most people do and peruse Google Earth, Google Maps, and things of that nature before you go out there? Or are you a hard copy map guy that likes to get a hand map, put all your stuff on, and then go and draw on it? What's your method of scouting out locations to go look for?
Well, when I first pick my certain area. Now, keep in mind, for the record, I will say that I have it broken up into zones. There's several zones. Yes, I keep a geographical map of the whole entire area. But I have my favorite spots. There's certain spots in my area, my one particular zone or two that I love paying special attention to. One is because over the years it's produced the most activity. There is patterns that are observed and studied, and notes are taken, which that's one thing I tell anybody. First of all, if you're gonna have a spot, try to stay with one spot the much as possible.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, yeah, I got multiple spots, and I'll visit them every so often. I'll explore those areas. I'll look for changes. I'll look for tracks. Et cetera, et cetera.
Do you keep journals or log books or anything like that?
I do make notes at home. I don't carry a notebook. Well, actually, I have actually carried notebooks with me, but if I camp out there for a period of time, I'll write notes and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's through the audio recorder or my document through video. I'll make videos. And of course, a lot of people find my field videos boring because I'm not one of those that goes out there every day that claims to have squatches around their camp.
But that's why I like to watch your videos, though. I like going out there and watching just what you do and where you go. And really, truly, what people can't say is that you don't cover ground. Because I watch the different spots that you stop at and say something, or stop here and there. I don't find anything like that boring whatsoever. When it's Sasquatch, you're out in the woods and you're tracking, you're scouting. I just love to see what's up around the bend. What's next? What's that scene gonna look like next?
Yeah. And well, there's something I don't think a lot of people don't realize just how far I travel. I know sometimes I'll make a note of it or a mention of it on some of my videos, like, well, I'm in 2 miles right now, or I've gone 5 miles. I don't think people believe that. It's like, he's not really going that far into the woods. But when I've actually, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not exaggerating. I've taken people out in the woods with me, and I said, you want to go see where I explore? Pack up, bring your gear, be prepared. We get out there. We've already gone almost 3 or 4 miles already, and the people, they're like breaking down, and I've had people cry. I said, you're not going to see a Sasquatch or any wildlife, standing there at the road. I mean, you might get something across the road on you, but I said all the action's deep in the woods. Of course, at night I do like to hang around the camp because things that are out deep moving closer down into the lower ground. Because a lot of them are up on the higher grounds. Or especially on the hot days, they're going to be bunkering down wherever it's cool around the rock ledges and dens and streams. Those areas you want to look around.
That's exactly what Patrick said. They take the high ground and will watch you. That's exactly what we were talking about, I think, today, wasn't it, Patrick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now I know. So when you have like a camp and you go out there, I know sometimes like it just might be a day hike or a day trip.
Right.
When you go out there to do a camp, are you staying at a designated campground within the national forest, or do you what do you call it? Like go
primitive
and just go in the woods with a tarp or what have you and just camp out there with them?
Now what I'll do, there is actual campgrounds throughout the national forest where you can pay the small $5 to $10 daytime fee or whatever. But where I go, it's primitive camping. Anywhere you can find an opening spot, set up, first come first serve. That's pretty much how it works.
Yeah.
Especially during a camping expedition, you need to have, some of these areas are opened up pretty good. You can set several tents up. But I'll set up a base camp and then I'll go from there.
Yeah.
Like 6 miles up the other way towards the West Virginia side. If I know there's a couple trails I want to go over there, I'll drive up there and park and then hike in from there.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. A lot of it's real spread out around there, and
So how many research spots do you currently have? Now, it may be a crazy number, but then again, how many of those do you like visit more often? And then do you have a certain type of workflow or schedule on how to hit those spots, or is it just a random thing where I want to go today?
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. But first of all, no, there's no random, there's no schedule on when I go. Yeah. Sometimes what might persuade me to go in the area might have something to do with the circumstances of the day or whatever. But now my particular research area, although I said that's broken up into several zones,
Yeah.
I'm gonna classify that as one area. Even though it's very large. But yeah, there is several areas. It's kind of hard to give a number.
Yeah, it's just like I could see it getting overwhelming. With having spots and going to scout them and doing this, the excitement and the lure of finding new spots is great, but the folks out in the West, I think they're in California, the Olympic Project. I forget those.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they decided to do, and of course it's different out there because of the terrain. Oh,
right.
It's Oregon, or is it Washington State? Anyway, they chose to pick an area and then just stick in that one area and stay in that one area and know it like your home. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Of course, as a turkey hunter, that's what I love to do. You maximize your areas when you run and gun, right? But sometimes just staying put in one spot, eventually they're gonna come, and both tactics work. Someone's enjoying the Behringer tonight.
I know. I'm trying to focus on you, Scott, but I'm getting a kick out of Christy here.
Yes, that's right.
I'm sorry.
Rick Woodbooger Fall is making his.
What did he say?
He said her gift.
I apologize, Daniel. This is a clown network here sometimes.
You know how I call him in? I go booger, booger, booger.
Well, as far as Scott.
Yeah, what's up, Patrick?
As far as let's stay in one place or moving around, I really find time of year has a lot to do with that. So time of year is just in your geographic area. Have you found a difference between spring, winter, summer, and fall in your area up there in Virginia?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, with what I'm about to share, I've heard several others share the same thing. And like even down in Texas or towards Florida, yeah, I'll squatch year round, but the most active times in the area where I notice the most activity between vocals and movement and is either during the early to mid spring, and then you got the towards the fall when the deer season starts coming back in because the temperatures start dropping back down. Because in the hot heat, it's like us. Do we really want to be out there all that time in the heat? And we want to stay in the shade, So yeah, it's the same thing with a non-human primate like a chimpanzee or gorilla. They have very little body fat, and some of them they can only handle up to so much heat, even though they remain in the jungles and stuff. But yeah, so during the hot summer days and stuff, the activity is very slim. Not saying it won't happen because I've heard things and experienced things in summer, but it's very rare to get anything during the summer. Because most of the time, I believe their movement's gonna, like most of the time, is gonna be more in the late night or late hours, early morning hours. Because I've observed during the different times of year when the time frames of when the activities, the vocals actually come about, and like during the spring, in the cooler weather, like early to mid spring,
Right.
You'll get anything from 9:30 to midnight. You know, during the summer hours, when it's a lot more heated up, it's going to be between around the 2 and 3 o'clock hour morning.
Do you find that the knocking is more prevalent, or the actual audio vocals from the creatures are more prevalent in your area?
Like you meaning more, like more than the other.
So do you hear more knocking than you do hear actual vocals, like whoops, whistles, or yells, or
Well,
screams?
that really all depends, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, most of the knocking, I will say this much: most of the knockings actually came from our responses. Where like if we give off a tree knock, we've always gotten responses both day and night. However, I've had received tree knocks by themselves unexpectedly,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, we had one real close to camp. I mean, literally right there across from our camp. And my father happened to be camping with me that time because he's always anytime I come out of the woods, he always wants to know if there's a story to be told.
Yeah, you post a lot about your dad. I love the old photos.
Oh yeah.
Of you when you're a kid and your dad with the old trucks and all. I love all of that.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm always telling Dad about if I find tracks, I'll show him pictures of them, or
Right.
I'll tell him, oh, I heard this, and or I'll play my audio if I captured audio, and so he's always talking. I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna get out there with you. I want to get out there and camp with you. I said, Dad, come on. I said, you're retired. There's nothing holding you back.
Yeah.
He's been retired since age 49. So
right. So do you find that? Have you found any correlation or any type of rhythmic things that let you know that some sort of meaning with their knocking?
Actually, yeah, that's a good question. The one of the daytime knocks we've actually gotten, and this is just one I'm going to use for example, but I do believe that knocks are a location sign signal, for the very fact where one day hiking, this is actually up on the ridge across from where I camp. Well, my one main camp, and after hiking up a couple ridges and going, driving down to a hollow or two, and sitting down there taking a break, I decided to give off a tree knock. And
a single knock.
Yep, one single knock.
Okay.
I've done others, but sometimes I'll do two. But in this case here, it was only one single knock, and most of the time that's all I ever do. One single knock.
Right.
But after giving off that one solid knock, which if you have the right piece of wood hitting on the right tree, it's going to produce a loud bassy, boom,
Yeah.
So I prefer pine on pine, because especially the bigger the pine, the louder the bass. In my area anyway. I know other trees may be different in some other areas, but after giving off this one tree knock from the same ridge we just traveled from, there was immediate knock down to the left. Looking back at that ridge, down to the left, there was a knock. And then, between 5 and 10 seconds later, after that knock, further up on the ridge was another response. And so here we are, from the sound of where they're coming from. First me,
then
one on the left, and one on.
And a second. Yeah.
It was like a triangle pattern. So
right.
it's like they're like, okay, hey, maybe they don't know I'm a Squatch, or maybe they, or whatever. So it's like maybe they're what I assume
is that
okay,
you are a Squatch.
Yeah, so I'm over here, and the other one said, "Well, I'm up here." I mean, that's what I gathered. I felt like they were letting each other know.
Right. Patrick, Patrick's got a good knock theory too, and he primarily likes a one knock. What do you think about his findings with that one example, Patrick?
All right, so the knocks came from a ridge you were just on.
Right, exactly.
They were on your back trail.
So they, yeah,
they knew you were there. All right, first, I've never gotten within a quarter mile of one, and it doesn't know I'm there. It always knows I'm there. I can't get within a quarter mile without knowing.
How do you know that they know if they're a quarter mile away?
Sound.
I get that. I got that from Little Sam when he come running down. When he come running down the creek hollering, he didn't know I was there at first. But when he got pretty, within about a quarter mile, he come up on that ridge within 100 yards and did his whoop and whistle.
Yeah.
He knew I was there. So right. I've never not got busted by one. You know how you sit in a stand, you have to hear walk all around you, and it's no big deal. I've never not got busted by one of those. Yeah,
it's like if they are a deer, they walked up and looked straight up at you in the stand, you're busted. Yeah. Well, yeah, Dan, in case you don't know, Patrick has been doing this since 2003 and has affectionately named an orange female Sasquatch with blonde split ends as being Sasha, and he's pretty sure that the one he just described to you as being Sam, little Sam, is its child. I'll send you the link to the show. Listen to it when you get a chance. You'll be blown away.
Awesome.
Now, as far as a single knock goes,
right?
If for your the actual answer of the question you asked, it says I'm here.
Now,
I'm here. It's either I'm here and I'm looking. Depending on the context gets very complicated.
Yes, it's hard to tell.
It depends on where your feet are, how close it is, how hard it's knocking. How far is the ridge from the knock from on the ridge that you heard? How far from you was it?
Oh man, it was a thick covered ridge, and it wasn't. It was very close. It was. It was within clear view. It's not like it wasn't. It was way less than a quarter of a mile. It was
so like 50 to 100 yards.
Yeah, well, give or take.
Right.
Yeah.
So 100 yards away.
That's close.
And that's pretty close.
Yeah, that's real close.
I mean, he probably had eyes on you, and it was just a one solid knock.
Yeah, from each one. Yep.
All right, so you had a knock, and then
seconds later,
another knock.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it was a further location away from you.
Yeah, the second knock, the second reply was a little further away. The first one sounded very, very close.
So, okay, well, it sounded like it was the same one getting away from you. From what I gather.
Or it could have been the one that was close. He could have been watching you since you set foot in there to camp.
Yeah, he could have.
Now,
they'll just sit back in the brush and let you walk on by.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it was interesting because on the same bridge that we were on, hearing the replies, because there was me and two others. The two others that were sitting down on the ground. But we did find some interesting structures up on the hill there that we were exploring on. One of them I use on the cover of one of my books I put out there. It's actually a really cool looking tripod of parts of trees that were put together that look like a teepee. So
yeah. Now,
Patrick,
do you find these structures, whether it be an X structure or an A structure, or something you can't debunk? Like you say, this is not natural. Do you find that in those areas where you've looked at, where Sam's been and Sasha's been, and this, that, and the other? Is that around, or it's just occasional that you find that?
I see a lot of downed trees, wind damage,
right?
And things.
Natural.
I really can't. The only thing I actually attribute to them was the tree that was pushed over my trail.
Yes, I got a photo of that. Yes.
Yeah, that came after Sam was shot at.
Well, is that tree still green?
The tree was green.
Yeah. Yeah, that's odd.
It was bent and pushed over the trail.
Yeah. Purposely. Perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Over the years, I've come across a number of different structures or formations. Now, there's been very few that I feel that are. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Some of them have been very controversial. I mean, where you could, they could be either or natural or what I believe to be possibly done by hands. Regardless, regardless if a human did it or maybe a Sasquatch.
Right.
As much as I want to believe that Sasquatch did it, I can't say because I didn't witness how it was made. But so but so it's interesting. I mean, the ones that fascinate me the most are the teepee type structures. Now, I do know, like a lot of trees, when winds and storms blow, it's a coincidence. Some of them do actually fall together, forming a pretty cool looking structure.
Right.
And that's the case with some of them.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, sir.
The week old Sasha and the week old Sam track pictures I sent you.
Yeah.
Was 40 yards from that pushed over tree.
Yeah, that's close. So there's a correlation. There's a correlation with that. Now, man, I forget what I was gonna say. I just got knocked off track. No, it's not. It's not you. It's not. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. As much as we cannot sit there and say we did not see those creatures make this structure. A lot of times I'll be in an area where I've trekked in 1, 2, 3 miles and then gone off trail another mile. And I try to say to myself, how many other humans will put in the time to go exactly where I just went and then erect an A or an X type structure, a TP structure, and then just leave to just do it, I guess. Just have, that's fun.
Well, I've questioned myself with the same thing before.
You've got to be completely out of your mind if you're someone who just picks a random place out of nowhere, deep in a national forest or state park or wildlife management area, and say, I'm just going to put a structure here to mess with the Sasquatch folks. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And boots on the ground just to do that, because your whole life might go by before somebody's going to stumble across that.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If I may, I've had that same argument with myself. Who's going to come out here barefooted, a mile and a half or 2 in, walking a creek bottom just to mess with me?
Yeah.
I've had that argument with myself. Trying to debunk
I do it all the time. Every time I find myself out there in the middle of nowhere, I'm huffing and puffing because I'm out of shape. I am way in there. I got way too far in because I'm overexcited, or I just go and I'm saying to myself, man, I am, if something happens to me, nobody's going to find me.
Yep. Exactly.
If you find something there, how many others have been there? Not too many. Especially if you don't find a Coke bottle, an old can, and an old logging oil jug. That's when you know you're deep in the middle of somewhere, when you find no traces of any human. Here's a quick question that I want to get into both of y'all right now. Completely off the wall, but it's something that keeps me up at night. I'm a bit loony, okay? Turkey hunting with my mentor in Mississippi. Okay, he had country folks here in the South. They view pets differently than city folks. Pets to them are kind of like, well, if they die or run away, we save money. Okay, in the country, as opposed to many people here in the city areas who the pets are. And I'm not saying you can't be from the country and have a pet and it's part of the family. What I'm getting at is the man that I used to go hunt with, he literally had a 55-gallon drum out underneath his woodshed where we chop. I helped them cut logs for the winter and stuff because that's how they heated their house. But their pets stayed outside. But he had this 55-gallon drum barrel. And all through the summer, he had to change it. And all three of those dogs, he called it the dip. He had to dip those dogs because they were riddled with ticks. These ticks were almost the size of like a black olive, just hanging off their ears, off their back. And they'd have to remember going out there and we would just dunk them and they hated it. But once they came out, you'd see these things, they'd shake and these things would fly off, It was nasty.
Yeah.
So, but hey, and when we went in the woods, we went through great measures to use permethrin to soak in our clothes, snake boots, long socks, long sleeves, spraying down this, that, the other. And she still got a tick.
Yeah.
And I had got a tick before the last trip. Sasquatch has got to be covered with ticks.
Oh yeah.
I want to get a tick from a Sasquatch. I know that sounds nuts.
Well, look, that would make sense though.
I know.
Think about it. The DNA's inside that damn tick.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Hold on now, guys. Wow. Hold on now, guys.
He might start, if he gets bit by a tick from a Sasquatch, he might start going.
I just had a picture. I just had a picture of 3 Sasquatches sitting under a tree, grooming each other, picking ticks off at another area.
just like the macaque monkeys, how they pick themselves. I'm sure it's got to be a ritual for them, especially down here in the South. It's got to be.
I'm often.
And those ticks that they throw off, I want them.
Nasty.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, you brought up grooming, how they might be picking up. I believe they probably do that. Because I mean, that's another trait that other primates do, or even for those who believe they are a type of primate.
Red bugs are nothing nice either.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting red bugs in their ass and everywhere else.
Yeah, Calvin said, I hate these chiggers walking through the woods. Trust me, I know.
I mean, if we ever get to a time where we discover this, and I'm sure it'll be eons, right? Like when we can coexist with, I'd like to sit down with Sasquatch and say, how do you deal with red bugs in your ass or a tick underneath your nuts? No. That's funny. It's funny, but it's true. You can't live out there and not deal with the same things that you, unless they're just that tough and they just let them hang. Uh-oh.
Rick said he'll send you some.
Yeah. Send me some ticks. Some Sasquatch ticks.
From Stinky Holler.
Yeah. Do you know Wood Booger Fawn, Daniel?
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, he's a shit stirrer in here. He's stirring it. pot. He's stirring the pot. Good. This is what he says. Look, Wood Booger Farm. I will send you some pics. And then Robert says they don't throw them off; they eat them. That's right, just like those ones in China, man. They just go to town and just get protein and eat them off. I guess.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tony's in here. Tony, yo.
Yeah.
Tony.
Hey, Tony. I hope you're feeling better, man.
Yeah. I hope you're feeling a lot better.
Howdy, y'all. Maybe they don't hit pics, kind of like when the bugs go quiet. Just a thought. Yeah.
Good idea.
A lot of people talk about how when insects just completely. I mean, they don't have much of a brain, but I guess they know not to fool around with them. I have no idea. But these are the intricacies of their day-to-day life that I would love to know. Well, look, hey, it's 9:36. We generally do an hour. So, and I know it's 10:30 for Daniel there, and he's got work for tomorrow. So we're going to start to wrap it up. But before we wrap this up,
is Chris going to do her Wood Booger call? This is the second time I've seen it on the live chat.
Yeah, do it. Do the Wood Booger call. How do you do it?
I don't know.
Thing.
Booger.
Yeah. I get it. Because she always does that to Rick.
Yeah, call everybody bad.
Yeah, bad.
That call sounded like it was a cross between a Bigfoot and a turkey.
Yeah.
Booger.
Well, I wanted to do this for you, Daniel. I'm gonna show this, and while I'm showing it, once you see it, go ahead and start talking about it, okay?
All right. Oh yes. This has been a long time project of mine. Been wanting to do this for several years now, and I've been kind of waiting on the time to do it, and I'm looking to be doing this probably around early mid spring of 2020. Basically, what this is about originated. It was just going to be me, but I'm actually inviting others who are willing to participate in this. And each individual, whoever does participate, will be solo. Will be dropped off in a location for them to venture into.
I love it. I wish I lived closer. I would be there with you. I'm dying because I'm getting into bushcraft. But go ahead.
Bushwhacking.
Oh yeah. Well, as I say, as it says on the flyer here, miles deep in the remote forest, and no coming out of the woods for a whole week. Basically, you got to be prepared to camp primitive, and have all your necessities with you. So what it is, and each individual would go into the forest and venture in. Now, keep in mind when you're in this particular forest, before you venture in from off the forest road, you're already deep in the woods to begin with. So, so you would venture in, and I personally would go in 2 to 5 miles, set up a camp, and get yourself situated in the camp spot, and and venture, explore, document. I personally, speaking for myself, I plan on having all my gizmos and gadgets, my camcorder, maybe a few cameras set up around the perimeter of my camp. And my whole thing is, the way I was looking at this when I first started planning this was something. What gave me more of a better idea, more insight, it's kind of like what's his name? Les Stroud, Survivor Man.
Yes.
That's the vision I had in mind when I
Survivor Man type deal.
Yeah, each individual will be out on their own, and so that's something. I feel like the more people, like I said, I wanted to do it by myself, but having others out there, it would still be by myself because everybody would be far apart from each other, and
right.
So there would be no interaction. I wouldn't suggest radio communication because even with the best radios, with the way it's so thick in there, and the hills and ridges, the connection wouldn't quite work as well. Because out there, a regular cell phone don't work out there anyway. You don't get no cell phone service out there. The only food source you got is what you bring with you, and the water from the streams and the one river that feeds into the lake. Because I will say the streams, I had drank from those streams numerous times without any filtration and never got sick.
Some of those places that you walk and I sit there, and that's part of the reason why I love to watch it. You say it's boring and kind of mundane, but we don't have that here. We do not have that here. So when you go off trail and you're seeing stuff that in your, I don't know it, so it's new to me, and I like to think about that each time you think it's mundane and boring.
See, I don't see it as boring, but I'm just going some of the feedback I've gotten. I'm like, well,
feedback from others who think that,
because I explore when I go out into the woods. I like to be observant. I'm very observant of my surrounding, and a lot of times I'm filming the area, and then sometimes I'm filming and walking and talking, looking at the camera sometimes. Because I always have something on my mind when I'm out there. Because when I'm out there, my mind's being released. And so if I'm on the camera talking, it's because I have something to say,
Well, hey, I love that idea, and I haven't seen it done anywhere else. And
yeah, I've actually gotten a few people already responded to it that are very interested, and I don't want a whole lot of people, but
I think you might have a problem on your hands. The more this gets out, I bet you're gonna have. It's gonna start to take off because once people, if you're someone who has active sites. Now, when I mean active, I mean either audio, whether it be wood knock communication, which you have that, audio vocals. We haven't talked about that yet, or sightings, or as well as tracks, sign, or scat. There are a lot of people out there that would pay you to bring them with you. And doing something like this, handpicking a few folks to do a Sasquatch expedition of being kind of like bushcraft meets Sasquatch, man, that's awesome. That is really entrepreneurial, if you ask me. And
don't get me wrong. I've had, like I said, during small group camping trips, expeditions with others. I've brought people out there with me before, and it's just, I'm different compared to the other people. They want to take their time and just, not go too far. I'm like, come on, guys, there's more to see. I have a tendency to venture in deep. And
well, you tell them, hey, this is the tour. If you'd like to take the kiddie tour, I won't be with you.
Yeah, just stay at camp.
Yeah. You just got to be that way. The kiddie tour is from here to here, but then I'm going to be leaving. So, I'm going to be going off so the kids can stay back this way. No, but hey, I appreciate Patrick. Do you have anything left to say? Because I know you have work in the morning too. We all have work. I'd love to stay on. Patrick, do you have anything else?
Oh, it was great. It was great talking to you, Daniel. And
absolutely.
I appreciate your wisdom.
And hey, would you like to come back on sometime, Daniel, to talk about researching? Because I'd love to pick your brain on audio vocals, your methods that you use for audio recording, and the tech, the gear that you use, how you go put it out, how long you put it out, software that you use, blah blah blah. Would you be interested in doing something else again?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I like, most of the time when I go live, we have a lot of open discussions and everything on my end too. So if you guys are free on the weekends, I usually do mine. I like to try to do them on Friday nights, but lately we've been doing them on Saturday nights. That way, because we can go. We end up going 2 hours or more, because It's just sometimes the conversations will go from one thing to another. We're very random too, and it just gets so interesting,
Yeah, I like that format. That's why I like to watch your stuff, just because it's so hard to get some meat, and sometimes it takes being a little erratic and going back and forth, and
right.
in a while to do it. And we Bigfoot Explorer, we don't have big heads. We're not ego driven. At any minute, hey, I can go back to being my full-time dad, which that's what I do. That's my first job. But this has gotten underneath my skin, and I've happened to meet some really good, awesome people. I wish we were closer. I mean, these are people that I would consider
spread out everywhere.
Friends, close friends that, maybe I have 3 or 4 here where I live.
Right. How far are you? How far are you from South Carolina?
Ooh,
Louisiana's down there. That's a good 13, 14 hours.
Oh wow.
My
only reason.
Yeah, we're like almost on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, okay. You're closer to Texas.
East Louisiana, New Orleans.
We in the bottom of the boot.
We live in a bowl. We live in a bowl here. Like when we drive around and we go by the levee of the Mississippi River, the tugboats and all the traffic, the river pilots, they're up higher than most buildings.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're down here driving on the road, but you look up to see the stacks and the second stories of the ships.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool.
It's crazy. But most of
the only reason. Oh, I was just gonna say the only reason I was asking is because October 26th, I'm gonna be in Oconee, if I'm pronouncing it right, Oconee, South Carolina. There's a Bigfoot festival that I was asked to be one of the speakers there, and it's the funny thing is the town, the local government, the local town's actually putting it on themselves.
Oh, that's awesome.
See,
I know.
We need that down here south, because we don't have nothing like that down here.
Anything
to do with Bigfoot?
Really, truly, Louisiana is
ghost.
It's a great place. It is rich in culture and history.
Oh,
but as far as politics and economics, it's a very poor state. We have a very poor state. The number one commodity is rice and forestry. But it's just, and a lot of it's backwards too. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm being realistic. I don't like it. It's ugly, but there's still a lot of backwards, good old boy type things that are going on here, and
but we got good food, and we do have some good people. You got good people.
Well, that's one thing I've always wanted. I've always seen the food on TV. I'm not downing my state, but I'm saying, like in South Carolina, what town is that? That's doing that. It's called Oconee, Oconee.
We could never really have anything like that here. No town would get behind that.
No.
Oh, the thing is, don't ever say that, because I just got done hosting my second annual Virginia Bigfoot conference.
Yeah.
Wait. Rick said say something backwards. Okay, hold on. Here you go. Booger, booger, booger.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
You told her to say something backwards, and guess what? She did.
Snap.
Oh my goodness, that was good. that was good. That was good. Take that, booger booger.
I tell you what, you guys would have a lot of fun. You guys have got to come on this week. If you guys are able to, you guys should come on Saturday evening. So.
Well, hey, send me more info, like what time it'll be.
Because what time is it where you're at right now?
We are an hour behind you, so it's
Central. Okay.
Central Standard Time, so we're 9:50 right now, and you're 10:50.
Oh, okay. Because I usually go on a Saturday night. Between 8 and 9 p.m. my time. So if I do 9 p.m., it'll be 8 p.m. your time. Would that something like that? Would that work?
Yeah. Let's try it out this weekend. Just
Okay.
send me a link. I know how to do all this stuff. So if you want to, I wouldn't mind. And even if I didn't have much to say, I'd love to just listen.
Oh yeah. So,
Well,
I see Christy's a live one. So.
Oh yeah. It's the first time being in here, and he's done figured out that you're a live one. That's why people come to my channel.
Hey,
Excuse me.
You've got to live, laugh, and smile, because you know what? Negativity doesn't get far in life.
Hey, look.
That's right.
She's got an eye like a hawk, though. She's got a good eye.
Oh my God, Gordo said something. I have to show it to you since you said that.
Where?
Later. Yeah.
Okay.
You heard that? You heard that, Gordo? Huh? What he just said? I got an eye like a hawk, right?
Yep. She does.
That is crazy.
She really does. And the more I age, the more my eyes are going to hell.
Well, instead of having 4, you want to have 6 eyes?
No, 6. Well,
hey, Scott, I got 4 eyes too. I just got my contacts in today, so.
Yeah, I wear glasses, but I don't wear them.
Yeah, I'm laughing still. No, I wish I could wear contacts though, but I have that deal where I'm farsighted. Oh my God!
Rick put,
it's time to go.
Evil, hear no evil.
Speak no evil.
That's
exactly.
right, booger.
3 blind mice. So look, hey, Daniel, where can people give us a little plug here? Where can people find you?
Well, I'm all over Facebook. We have
Facebook at ECBRO, or
yeah. I have the main ECBRO Facebook forum group. I have an ECBRO like page. I also have you can find my YouTube channel, Bigfoot Zone with ECBRO.
I'll plug that later too. I'll put your YouTube on our Facebook group.
I'm gonna like your page.
Awesome.
I'm already on there.
Well, I didn't know. I mean,
okay. I'm gonna get you on it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want, you can follow. Yeah, you can follow my main timeline because unfortunately I'm maxed out on Facebook friends. Facebook won't allow you any more than 5,000 friends.
Well, so I consider myself lucky because I'm one of your friends, I think.
That's right, and I'm over 1,200 followers, so I don't know.
Yeah, but you gotta watch who you add to your Facebook.
Oh yeah, I know.
I monitor.
Hey,
I've blocked a lot of people in the past.
One day off air, we're gonna have to talk about the Fred Kenny video.
The what?
The Fred Kenny video.
Oh,
where you lost your mind.
I got others that could jump in on that one.
I totally felt your pain because I was I was following you big time. And it's not that I'm not now, but when that stuff was going on, I'm like, oh my God, I know Dan, he does not want to be involved with this crap. And that one day that you blew up, I wish I could say that I wish I could do that. You were awesome. I'm glad you spoke your mind and said what you did, because guess what? It stopped. It started to stop. The crap started to stop.
Well, I will tell you this much, huh?
It's more like beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
Beep, beep,
But
beep,
you can only push somebody so far when somebody's lying.
Yeah. You just got to ignore the ignorance, because people are on a kindergarten level, so which makes you a college degree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, we're not getting into that place here today, but I'm just saying, one day off air, I'd love to chat with you.
Oh, absolutely, because I can get heated up over it.
Because your pain, man.
Because trust me, even though all him and all his profiles and his other half, they got me blocked. But I have multiple alias profiles. I still watch and listen to everything. They still like to bring my name up. So
People are something else. People are insane, and the comments that we get, and I know it's just like not me, because everybody gets these horrible comments. Like, if Facebook holds you accountable for the copyright of audio and some types of music, the sort of content that you put out there, things you can and can't say, they need to do something about these comments.
Well,
there are people out there that are psychotic.
Yeah, you talking about some of the comments on YouTube, or
comments on YouTube where kids can read those comments anytime. They are vile.
There's settings. You could fix your settings to where you could either monitor. I mean, you could delete them, but as soon as you get the notifications.
I've done that, and that's part of my day-to-day work, is going to look at those comments and holding them for review, going to read them. But I can't imagine if you're somebody like, how many subs do you have?
Me, I'm only at 1997 right now. So
yeah, but still, just think if you're like 5,000, 8,000,
oh yeah,
10,000, it's going to get to a point where you cannot manage those comments. It'd be a full-time job just to manage comments. Anyway, another topic for another day is that I'm tuned in to a bunch of the YouTube Creator Academy type deal.
Right.
And they are quickly getting ready to end the classic editor, like where you go upload and you do all your stuff. They're pushing that studio beta.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to upload your videos and all, are you using the new studio beta, or do you revert back to the classic?
Well, yeah, because what they're doing, they're getting rid of Hangouts. Hangouts is supposed to is how a lot of people connect through the podcast and stuff on YouTube, which what we're using here works just as good, or actually better. To be honest, this is the same thing.
Love this.
I'm glad I found it, and it was actually a buddy of mine from Kentucky who started using this, and I was looking for something because I wanted something where you could put in overlays and put in titles and pictures, and So Jimmy Blanton, young guy from Kentucky, Jimmy Blanton, said try this, and I got on it, started experimenting, playing around with it. I said, man, this is awesome. Yeah, so but you've actually taken this a lot further advanced than I have. You know how to get somebody in here on a phone call and all this good stuff.
Yeah, I'll teach you if you want. We can have a phone call one day, or I might even write up a workflow. I do a lot of technology videos for the Bigfoot community. Like, there are tons of how to do technology type stuff out there, but most of the Bigfoot community folks, they don't go search for it. So I do a lot of that. Camera tech, software tech, mapping. I'm a geospatial specialist by day, which means I'm a geographer or a professional mapper for a land firm downtown. So I bring that along. I graduated from Louisiana State University with a degree, a bachelor's in forestry management. I did a lot of forestry work right out of school.
Yeah.
So I try to bring all of what I can bring to the Bigfoot world, and that's forestry, my goofiness, my tech, my technology, my field producer work.
You're such a good field producer.
My experience with hunting turkeys and stuff like that too. But so look, let's end it. I could tell. See, I was so worried that we wouldn't have enough to talk about, and it's really been good tonight. I really enjoyed it. I think we could easily do something again.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to.
Patrick.
be a guest whenever you'd like to have me too.
Patrick.
We're serious, but we like to have a good time. We don't take ourselves too serious, but
and that's the way it should be. That's how we have it. We're very laid back. We cut up a joke. And
we're not professional.
I love that. I think that's the only way to be. I mean, you got to look funny yourself.
And the funny thing is, we bring up topics that others may have a certain, like you were talking about Fred and Fred Canny.
Yeah.
Sometimes we bring up topics, Bigfoot related topics, and we'll end up discussion, and we'll talk about how we disagree with this and this and this, and then that's where a lot of trouble started, where we got accused of bashing because we were talking about something they were talking about how we would disagree with it, and we would explain why we would disagree with it. So it would turn into an accusation or accusal thing, where we used to get blamed for a lot of stupidity stuff. I mean, basically, it's like little kids in elementary school.
Children, exactly.
And their ignorant followers believed everything they were told. Yeah, they're bashing us, and then of course it started everybody else talking trash about us that follow them. I mean, talking about uneducated lowlifes, but so
it's just incredible how many people out there literally are way too sensitive. Someone's losing their mind here.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's not nice, Rick. We are censoring that, Rick, exclusively here on Bigfoot Explorer, but I totally get what you're talking about. It's an inside joke to the 60 people who are in the chat room. Thank you for playing. Apparently, Christy really likes it, if you can't tell, fans. That's right. But we are going to go now. This is enough for tonight.
I'm sorry.
Patrick, thank you for being here.
We love you. Hey, Daniel, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
I'll call you after, Patrick.
Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick is cracking up. All right, so this is Bigfoot Explorer for my great first-time guest host, Daniel Benoit, founder of ECBRO. Thank you so much for sticking with this crazy channel and us two novice researchers.
And Christy Stein, but also Patrick is a part of our team now.
Yes. We'd like to announce that Patrick is part of Bigfoot Explorer. Check out ECBRO on Facebook.com or Daniel Benoit, and also your YouTube channel is ECBRO there as well.
Bigfoot Zone. It's a Bigfoot Zone with ECBRO on afterward. So
and his icon is ECBRO. Go check out some of Daniel's videos. I highly enjoy him just for the aesthetics alone. I try to post it on the live chat, but it won't. Every time I go to put the link to my channel, it disappears. It won't allow me for some reason. So YouTube, man, they are trying to get us. So thanks again, Patrick. Do you want us to call you, or are you just going to bed?
Yeah, call me. We'll chat a little bit.
Yeah, we'll chat just for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and play the outro for everyone there, all the YouTube Nation that is supporting Bigfoot Explorer. Thanks so much. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Joe Parker. Of course, thank you, Wood Booger Farm, Mr. Rick Wells. There's Tracy C.
Reddy Cool.
Calvin. There's Reddy right there. Linda Taylor. There's Bigfoot Zone. Thank you, everyone. Barry Browning. Right. So here we go. We are going to go out with
a bang.
A bang. Good night. Have a great day. And remember, hey, someone out there is going through a lot worse than you are. So, be kind and be courteous and have a compassionate heart. Thank you. This is Bigfoot Explorer. Good night, everybody. And here goes the outro. Good night.
All right. You guys.
Oop, I should have ended it sooner.